Hello everyone and welcome to smartcode. Now in this tutorial you are going to learn how to write and work with CSS class selectors. CSS class selector is most used and popular selector, and it lets you make highly targeted design changes. And just by using class selector you can easily identify and style a specific HTML element or a group of HTML elements. And in a couple of minutes you will experience how. Are you ready? So let's check it out. I have set up a simple HTML document with 2 paragraph elements and 2 empty divs, and we are going to use these elements to understand class selector. So applying class selector is a two-step process. The step 1 is you differentiate between HTML elements by giving them a class name, and for that you use class attribute directly inside the opening tag. Let's say I assign class special to our first paragraph and a class non-special to our second paragraph. And the same I will do with the divs. The first div belongs to a class named circle and the second div got the class name square. Now our first step is completed and we have created 4 different classes: special, non-special, circle and square, and assigned them to elements. And here you just see the elements are of same type, like p elements, and the div are now belongs to different classes. And now you can identify a specific tag using its class name. For example, I can now identify the first paragraph using the name special and the div using the name circle or square. Let's now go on. And the step number 2 is writing the class selectors. Include the CSS file using link tag, and here in the CSS file we are going to target all the classes that we have in our HTML document, and we will style them using CSS class selectors. So a class selector begins always with a period followed by the name of the class that you want to target, such as class selector for targeting the special class would be like period and the name of the class. And for targeting the non-special class, we will write so writing class selectors is very simple, right? But they have magical power, and you will see in a couple of minutes. So what's happening here now? This special class selector will only target the elements belong to a special class, and the non-special class selector will also do the same. Let's now target the other classes that we have in our HTML document. Let's now apply some properties to each selector, and once we are done, then we are going to check the result. Now save the file and render the page in the browser. And there you see the result. Now using the classes and the class selectors, you are able to pinpoint an exact element, right? Now before we go ahead and explore what more we can do with the class selectors, there are some rules that you need to keep in mind. The first rule is every class selector name must begin with a period. And the rule number 2 is CSS allows only letters, numbers, hyphens, and underscores in class names. The rule number 3 is after the period, the name must always start with a letter. If there is another character apart from the letter, then your selector is not valid. And last but not least, the rule number 4. Class names are case sensitive. For instance, the name special with small letters is not equal to the name special with capital letters, right? So keep in mind these rules while working with the classes and class selectors. Now, once you have created a class selector, then you can just apply it to any element on the page. The only thing that you need to do is assign the same class name to different elements. Let's create another paragraph with the same special class. Now we have two paragraphs belongs to the same class, and our class selector named special will target now both the paragraphs. And when I render this page again in the browser, and there you see the first and the last paragraph have got the same result because they belongs to the same class. So a class selector can be reused, and here you just see an example on that. So in this tutorial, you learn the basic of class selectors, and there are some other cool stuffs that you can do with the class selectors that I am gonna explain in the next tutorial. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.